All right, so that's that. Now let me move on to diversity. Again, here's another speech in and of itself. Don't have enough time to get in everything, but I'm going to touch on some points. This is a tough area. It's always been difficult. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is an area of life that we are beginning to come to grips with. Let me tell you a story. My story is I was an accountant. Ken mentioned that. I grew up, got a college degree, and got the good fortune of being hired to work in a public accounting firm, one of the big 8 accounting firms in 1980. There were 195 professionals in this office, really bright people. All of them were white except me. This is 1980. In fact, in the city of Philadelphia, where I grew up, there were probably 10 CPAs in 8 major accounting firms. 10 black CPAs in 8 major accounting firms. So this was rare. I was rare. So what happens is they bring you in, and I started with a group of 24 people, and they sit you down and give you a few weeks of orientation, after which you're assigned audits. They send you out in teams to work on audits. Everyone was assigned except me. Everyone was assigned except me. I sat in the office a few weeks before I finally decided to go to the hiring manager and say, what's going on here? Why can't I get on the job? He says, well, we're working on it. When I thought about it, I realized that there was probably some dynamics going on that I could not accept. First of all, it's likely that there were clients that this firm had that did not want to see a black person in their offices working on their books. Didn't want to see it. Secondly, because there were so few black accountants, everyone just assumed that we were probably bad and that we were just token hires. Well, how do you know if a person can do it if you haven't given them a chance? I mean, I graduated from a great institution for public accounting and I couldn't get on the job. So this firm was very interested to some extent in diversity. They wanted to get us in there. But they weren't interested in including me and treating me with equity so that I could actually have a chance to succeed. Now, back then, there was no concern about the business. The business was doing just fine. So we couldn't really make a business case for me getting a chance to succeed in this place. But that's not the world today. The growing diversity of our markets and of our businesses and of our society almost demands that if companies are going to be successful, that you have to consider diversity. Now we're past talking about diversity, we're talking a bit more about inclusion, access, and so forth. But it's still hard. We don't quite know what to do yet. And the biggest challenge I think we have is that we haven't approached this problem from a point of abundance. We've approached this problem like we do in many things, from a sense of scarcity. We feel like if we give people a chance to succeed from diverse backgrounds, that others, the incumbents, are going to lose. You know, see, we were all raised playing this game, musical chairs, right? There are 11 chairs and 15 kids. And the music comes on and we're marking around these chairs and suddenly the music stops and we have to butt each other out to get a chair. Some kids get left out. And then it goes again. They take away another chair, take away another. Finally, there's one chair left. That's scarcity. We have to approach diversity, equity, and inclusion in a different way. We have to ask them to play this game differently. We have to say, yes, there are too few chairs. Then there are people, maybe. But if we all work together, we can find a way to rearrange these chairs into benches so that everyone can sit down.
That's good. That's good.
Give that a hand.
That's
There
good.
is a way for everyone to sit down and have room left over.
Yes.
We don't have to be afraid that people are going to lose because others get opportunity. The point of diversity, equity, and inclusion should be that we build more than we had before. That we create new markets, that we get new ideas, that everyone rises because of this. That's what we have to achieve, folks. So we have to, as I said, approach this from a standpoint of abundance. Then we have to do the work. And it's great to have a chief diversity officer. It's great to bring in speakers to talk about it. I'd be happy to come in and talk more about it. But the real work is in looking at every system, structure, every practice, every policy, every procedure, every cultural mores, and asking ourselves, is there anything inside of these that we do that are holding people back from achieving what God has in store for them? What's holding them back? And if there are things that are holding people back, that are keeping us from rising, then we have to do the work and ask ourselves, are we willing to change? Now, there may be some things that we say, no, we're not changing that. Because we don't think that is as big a problem as it could be. And every company, by the way, every organization is going to find that we can't just let everybody show up as their authentic self. We can't do that. Because there are some authentic things about me that you would not want me bringing to the workplace. So that's fair. But we have to ask ourselves, when we are not making certain changes, and when we're asking people to sacrifice something about their authentic self, are we spreading the pain equally? Is everybody sacrificing something for the good? And are some of those sacrifices that we're asking disproportionate, and that should be mitigated in some way? It's a balancing act. It's not easy, as I said, but that's what has to happen if we're going to get the most from these diversity, equity, and inclusion activities, and if we're going to get the benefit from this great diversity that we have in our country. Last thing on this. The Salvation Army, I learned, and I should have known this because you're everywhere, has a program in every single zip code. Every one. Give that a hand. Which also means that the diversity of this country is touched by you. Whether you know it or not, it's there. You see it, you live it, you experience it. And one of the things we have to do is find ways to bridge differences.
Yes.
We live in the most polarized times in the history, in my lifetime for sure, but I would gather in most of your lifetimes. I don't know if we've ever seen a time where we have so many people living in tribes.
Yeah.
Social media helps a lot with that. We can all find our tribe to live in. but we're not talking to each other. We're letting the algorithms decide who we talk to. We're letting social media dictate who our friends are, who we should care about, who matters. We've got to find ways to break through those filtered bubbles and talk to real people who are different than we are. We may not like what they have to say. It's okay. We may not agree with what they have to say. But you know, in the end, everybody wants the same thing.
True.
We want to be able to eat. We want to have a house over our head. We want to have a hope that the future can be a little bit better than it is today.
Right.
We all want that. And what we have to do is talk to each other just long enough so that we can find those common points and build trust and get past all of the hurt and the pain that we're experiencing, all of the fears that hold us from being human to each other, that keep us from loving each other. And then we'll make a breakthrough. We have to do that. And the Salvation Army can not only do this great work for its institutions, but by being better together, you can show this nation how it's done.
God help us.
Bigger than you. Bigger than you. Show this nation how it's done. This isn't a political speech. I didn't say anything about us political. I'm not political here. I'm talking about how we build this country into the great healing engine that it can be. All right. And this is the last thing, and I got to get off.